Let's go to book of Genesis, chapter 45, verse 1 through 7. It's on the screen, it's in the bulletin, it's in the Bible too. Chapter 45, book of Genesis, verse 1 to 7. I'm going to read all the odd verses, you're going to read all the even verses. Then Joseph could no longer control himself before all his attendants, and he cried out, "Have everyone leave my presence." So there was no one with Joseph when he made himself known to his brothers. Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is my father still living?" But his brothers were not able to answer him because they were terrified at his presence. And now do not be distressed and do not be angry with yourselves for selling me here, because it was to save lives that God sent me ahead of you. We're going to read the last verse together. But God sent me ahead of you to preserve for you a remnant on earth and to save your lives by a great deliverance. The part we just read is the part of Joseph's life where, making a long story short, his brothers didn't like him much. You know, you used to have those kind of brothers in your life too, right? Or sisters. The thing you never understood why your parents actually kept. But like, you hated it so much, but it was still there, you know? But with this relationship, Joseph's relationship with his brothers was even way more serious. And they didn't like him at all. And one day Joseph had a dream. It was more about you are going to bow to me later on. I don't know when that's going to be, but that will happen. And that kind of dream. And obviously the brothers didn't like that dream at all. Even they again didn't like Joseph. They decided to sell Joseph. I mean, selling brother? Have you ever imagined that? I mean, maybe you imagined that many times in your life. But you never done it, right? You know, put your brother on eBay, you know, $9.99, you know, for just this week. But you never done that, right? But they actually done it. I'm like, and obviously, Joseph's life got into very ugly shape, and he was a slave for many years, and then later on, he went to jail because of other reason. And if you want to know more about that, you read your Bible. And then finally the moment has come. This older brother bow down to me part finally has come to the true. So this is the moment. I mean, before this happened, even Joseph and his brothers had a little cup thing, you stole my car. No, we didn't. Yeah, you did. No, we didn't. Yeah, nah, yeah, nah. You know, I was thinking, why is even this part in the Bible? You know, I stole your cup. You stole my cup. No, we didn't. This part. But later, I kind of realized this is kind of like brother thing. You stole my cup. No, we didn't. Yeah, no, you know. But after that, finally, Joseph revealed his true identity to his brothers. I am Joseph. This is the part of that Joseph imagined, dreamed of, for many years. You know, now his brothers here. I am Joseph. But I was thinking, if I were in his situation, Joseph's situation, you know what I would do? I would put out my index finger. And I'm going to wave it like this. And I'm going to say this too. I would say this to those brothers. I knew this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen. You see? My dream. Remember my dream, I would do this, right? Wouldn't you do this too? Come on. Be honest, I would do that. Yeah, I told you this. And I told you this, but you sold me. But that's not what happened here. You know what Joseph did in this part? We just read it. What did he do? He didn't do any waving finger, I told you so. He didn't do that. What did he do? He wept. He wept. This is, it doesn't really say directly what love is like. It doesn't really say any word of like, I love you, brothers. I love you, me. There's none of that here in this story, but yet we can see different type of love we can learn in this story. It is not like when we think of love, it's more like sweet, mun, 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 oh, I love you so much, I love you too, that kind of love, But here, we're talking about different type of love. It's love that weeps, love that gives you pain, love that hurts you. If you think of it, love doesn't always give you happy feelings. Love very often gives you the feeling of burden, feeling of pain, feeling of even hatred somehow. I heard a very funny story. There's a pastor, and then there was a couple who were very close to that pastor, and they're a married couple. But the thing is, they haven't been able to have a kid for a very long time. So they came to this pastor and asked him, Pastor, we've been trying really hard, and nothing really, baby-wise, hasn't happened yet. And the pastor said, oh, is that right? I'm gonna keep you in my prayer. And the couple went back. A couple of weeks later, they came back and told this pastor, hey, good news, pastor. My wife just got pregnant, Thank you for your prayer. And then pastor said, you know what? That's great news. That's very exciting. I'm gonna keep you in my prayer. And then the couple left. A few weeks later, they came back. And they informed pastor amazing news. Goes, hey pastor, this is really amazing. We just found out that our baby inside, it's not just one, twins. And I'm like, thank you for your prayer. And then pastor goes, that's exciting, that's great news. I'm gonna keep you in my prayer. And then couple left. And a few weeks later, they came back and they said, Pastor, this is great news. We just did the ultrasound and stuff, and we just found out it's not the twins. We got triplet. And the pastor said, that's a great news. That's exciting. I'm going to keep you in my prayer. And then the guy said, Pastor, I think you can stop. Pray for us. You get the story? I mean, if you have more kids, all the parents here, you must get the story. If you have more kids, isn't it greater opportunity for you to even love more? Isn't it even greater chance for you to enjoy that amazing love relationship with your kids? More kids, more opportunity to love. Why doesn't this guy, want anymore? Why does even he say you can stop praying for us? Why? You know why? Because love doesn't always make you happy. Sometimes love comes with a burden. Love sometimes comes with pain. Love is sometimes very, very, very hard. I actually thought about why love even is hard. It's very simple. When you love somebody, you gotta love that person, even in a situation that person is not lovable. I think I talked about this before. That's what love is about. When you love somebody, you gotta love that person, even in the situation when that person is not lovable at all. My wife sometimes asks me very hard questions. Actually, she often asks me very hard questions. Actually, she always asks me hard questions. And one of them is this. I mean, you maybe, heard this question too, all the husbands here. She sometimes asks me this question. Honey, why do you love me? That is extremely hard question. You know why? You know why? Because there's no way out. There's no way out. It's like a trap. You cannot get yourself out of the question. And I can say, when she asks me, why do you love me? And I can say, because you are beautiful. Then she goes like, are you saying that I don't have a good personality then? I can say, when she asks me, why do you love me? Then I can say, because you have a great personality. Then she goes what? She goes, are you saying that I don't look beautiful anymore? Then I go like, hey, I love you because you are a great cook. And then she goes, are you saying that I don't have a good personality and I don't look beautiful at all anymore? There's no way out. You see what I'm saying here? It's like when she asked this question, she's like, oh, here it goes again. Oh, what should I say? But if you think of this question, it's more like this. When my wife asks, "Why do you love me?" she's asking to know the reason, right? The reason why I love her, right? But which it actually means, it's not just reason, it actually means what kind of condition do you love me under? That's the question. So here, she's basically asking a question, love is conditional. And what kind of condition are you loving me under? What kind of condition gotta be there to love me? But here's the thing. If you think of love, in its essence, it shouldn't be conditional at all, right? If there's any option, if there's any condition for your love, it's not love anymore. It should be actually called a deal. Why? Because you're giving me this, you're giving me your good look, you're giving me your good personality, you're giving me your good cooking skill, you're giving me good food, you're giving me this type of role you gotta play for my life. I love you. This actually is very conditional. It's a deal, because you give me this, I'm gonna give you my love. But love in its essence should be unconditional. So you know how I answer that question all the time? I said this. When she asked me, "Honey, why do you love me?" Then I go this, "I just love you." And she asked me again, "Why? No, why do you love me?" But I never fall into that. I go, "I just love you." And then she goes, no, why do you love me?" "I just love you." That's how I keep myself away from all those potential troubles in your life. But here's the thing. Why does even she get a little frustrated with any type of answer that I can give her? Because we all know that love shouldn't be conditional. It should be unconditional. It should be, nevertheless, I love you. Nevertheless, I love you. But we all want type of love that actually says, thus I love you. You look great. You look beautiful. Thus, I love you. You have a great personality. Thus, I love you. You are rich. Thus, I love you. You have a great career. Thus, I love you. You are being good to me. Thus, I love you. But actually, the true love gotta be this way. You're ugly. You never say that, right? But still, in your heart. Nevertheless, I love you. You have a horrible personality. Nobody loves you. I don't know, it doesn't make sense. Okay. You have a horrible personality. Nevertheless, I love you. You are awful at this work. You're not really good at this at all. Nevertheless, I love you. The food you make for me, I cannot bear with it. Nevertheless, I love you. This is the true love. If you look at today's story, it's the moment Joseph actually got to be very angry at his brothers. This is the moment he's got to be like, put them all in the prison, like throw them in the prison or execute them even. But here, he doesn't do that. What does he do? He weeps. Because this is a type of love. He's saying, you sold me. You betrayed me. You did a horrible thing to me. Nevertheless, I love you. Because this is the type of love Bible talks about. We have we have this network or partnership called a friend community. I don't know if you're aware of this, but we have CIC, we have a Bali church, which is a Korean-speaking church, gathered right after this church here at PAC. We also have a Riverside church over there, the other side of city. And we also have a church called 가까운 교회, which is gathered in Seoul, near Hongdae. And that church is kind of small church, and we usually have like 40, 50 people gather every Sunday night, and we gather in this little coffee store. And one day, I got an email from somebody at our this Seoul Church email account. It went like this. Hi, I like to attend your worship service, but I better ask you for permission first. My family lives this certain part of the town, the city, and I have a husband and I have two sons, but my older one has a serious level of autism. And it was never possible for all our family to attend a service because son, the one with the autism, does like makes a weird noise and moves around like and never stays still. So we always thought we interrupt other people during the worship. So we're asking if it's okay for our family to attend your service. I thought your church would open up to us when we ask you. Thank you. Now, if you feel it's too difficult for you, you can say no too. That was a mail I got from a mother. Now, do you think we say yes? We say yes to her or no to her? Of course, we say yes. So the family came over, and we saw this boy. He's like I think seventh grader, and then they were in the worship, and worship was like going on, and during the message, he like kept making weird noise like ah! This, ah! You know, because of the autism he has. But it wasn't too bad overall. So after the service, I communicated this to the mother. Hey, it wasn't too bad. He behaved okay, but she said he actually behaved really, really okay today, relatively. Like he usually makes this dolphin sound, you know, and gather all his dolphin friends. But I heard a very interesting thing from her. She said, I mean, basically was sharing the same message. I mean, that day during the worship, it was more about. It was the last week's message was about forgiveness, and I asked this question to everybody: did you have anybody you just really hated? You just wanted to kill the person you hate so much? I asked that question to everybody during the message. But it was next week, and she came to me. She said this: when you asked me that question, I thought of somebody, and that somebody was my son. I hated him so much. I even wanted to kill him. I always thought, what if I never had him in my life? My life would have been way, way easier. I thought of that all the time. That's what she said. But later on, she said, later on, I realized this is how God taught me to love somebody. Nevertheless, I love you. This boy, like first 10 years, he didn't even consider his mom as a mom. According to the mother, he thought of the mother more like as a like closet, walk-in closet, because of the mental ability that he had. He never understood the love that the mother showed to him for most of his life. He never said like anything nice to her. Like it was like even hard for him to say something in a complete sentence. It was like like this. Like it was like that. But what she said, what I really learned from my son, even from experience hating him, was this: nevertheless, I love you. That's the type of love Bible talks about. You know why? Because thus I love you, that kind of love, we do that anyway. We don't need Bible for that. But Bible, when it talks about love, it's always about nevertheless, I love you. If you think about it, the greatest act of love God shown to us was the cross. But even on that cross, what God is saying is this: nevertheless, I love you. Because nevertheless, I love you, I will go all the way to the place of death, place of this torture, to show that amazing love to you. And when we realize that love, we can even do that love. Nevertheless, I love you type of love to others. Uh, I don't know about you, but I do have a credit card, you know, and I do use them. I do actually have one. It's American Express, and they do I think partnership with the Samsung too. So it's a Samsung card and American Express. Like they do both. I mean, this card does both. And in Korea, something that I don't think it works this way in U.S. But interesting happens here. Whenever you swipe a card, they send a text message to somebody. So usually, I always thought when husband swipes his card, text message goes to the wives. That's what I always thought. That's what I thought like everybody does. But the thing is, recently I learned that it works actually the other way. But my wife kept educating me that way. When you swipe your card, text comes to me. You know, that's what my wife told me 1,000 times. I always thought it works that way. But normally, when wives swipe their card, text goes to husband. You never knew, right? Maybe you never use a credit card. Your face looks like, what are you talking about? You know, it's totally new world. But again, whenever I swipe my card, text goes to my wife. It says actually where I swipe my card and how much money I spend there. So you must imagine like whenever I swipe my card, my wife calls me, goes like, you know, you just spent yesterday, and now you're spending your card again. I'm gonna take your card away from you. Now you're grounded financially, you know. But amazingly enough, my wife never call me whenever I use my credit card. She's never done that. It's only one time. Only one time she called me. It was when I went to the drugstore. I felt like I'm getting a flu or something, so I wanted to get like Tylenol or Advil. So I bought something, but I didn't have any cash with me, so I swiped my card. Right after I swiped my card, my wife called me, and she didn't go like, "You swipe your card again." She never said that. You know what she actually said instead? She said, "Are you sick? If you're sick, if you feel sick, you gotta come home. You gotta get some rest. I'll make you some soup." That's what she said. Aww. That's why I love her. Oh, I never said that. Here's the thing. This type of love God showed us. You know, we feel like, am I doing good, God, right now? Am I doing good? Am I really living a good life as a Christian? Just to be honest with you, you will never do that. You will never be good enough to be, AKA, a Christian. But He loves us anyway. Why? Because His love for us is, nevertheless, I love you, love. He always say, you know what? You feel sick? You're not feeling good? I'm with you. I'll walk with you. I love you anyway. If you remember the movie Jerry Maguire, there's a very last scene. Maybe it's not the last scene, but toward the end, there's a scene, the highlight. You know, if you saw the movie, remember this part. Tom Cruise, he had a big night at his career, and he realized how much he needs his wife. He kind of went through like divorce. I think his wife, Renee Zellweger, and he realized how much he needs his wife, divorced wife. So he ran back home, and then there was a gathering of all the divorced women talking about how bad their husbands were to them. And then this wife, Tom Cruise's wife, Jerry Maguire's wife, like after hearing all the talk, sob stories, she said this: "I heard your story 1,000 times, and one thing is sure, men are enemies. Yet, I gotta say this, I love enemies." And then like talking and stuff, and then Jerry Maguire came in. You all remember the scene, right? And then she's trying to convince his wife, you know, how much he loves her, and saying all kinds of stuff. I had a big night, a career, and this is a cynical world, and you complete me. He said that too there. And then just wife staring at him. Like, you know that Renee Zellweger's face, right? Like this. And then Jerry Maguire wanted to just convince her, like, oh, all that I need you in my life, all kind of things. But you remember what she said in the end. What did she say? You had me at hello. I'm crying just looking at it. Yeah, I love chick flicks, yes. That's kind of love God showed to us. You just had me at hello. I know you did all the awful things there. Sometimes you hurt me. What you do made me really sad. But yet, nevertheless, I love you. Kind of love Joseph showed to his brother is this kind of love. I'm weeping. Why? Because nevertheless, I love you. I don't know about your life. Maybe you have your life is so good, going so well, you don't have anybody, like you have a hard time to love. But to be honest, we all have somebody we just have a hard time to love. It's just whenever you think of that person, it just makes you feel like, you know. Yet, God wants us to even love that person. How? Just remembering that, nevertheless, I love you kind of love He showed to us on the cross. And I want you to love that person same way. That person can be your family member. That person can be somebody from your work. That person can be me. You're speaking too long now, you know. Yet, remember that love. I loved you first. Nevertheless, I love you. And I want you to love the same kind of love to that person you gotta love in your life. Let's pray. This time, again, I want you to think of somebody, the person you may, I don't know, have had a hard time to love. Not even love, you just had a hard time to accept that person in your life. Maybe not even acceptance, maybe you're just, all you wish is if you can stop hating that person, you just will feel okay. Maybe you have somebody like that from your family, I don't know, maybe from your work, from somewhere. That's why love takes courage. It takes tremendous level of courage. So this time, I want you to think of that person. And not just think of that person, I want you to also think of the great act of love God has done for you on the cross. His love for us was not thus I love you. It was type of love that says, nevertheless I love you. And just remembering the grace and love, I want you to start this journey of love. Maybe it will be impossible for me to love that person at this moment, but I want to start this journey. I will start loving that person, just remembering that love that I got from you, God. So I want you to say the prayer in your heart this moment. Give me courage to love. Just practice that unconditional love that I experienced from you, from the cross. Let's pray.